Toss That Shit Podcast. Listen to it every Wednesday.
Please be seated.
Wow. Wow. That was Mike from Long Branch, New Jersey with his rendition of the Waxes Podcast jingle. This is Waxes Podcast, episode 144. 144. 12 times 12. The square root of 144 is 12. Yeah, speaking of Mike from Long Branch, New Jersey, Mike hit me up this week and he sent me a flyer. He wanted me to promote this show, and I will gladly do this because on July 7th, Mike, as well as some members of No More Pain, Mind Riot, as well as some special guests are performing as Burden in My Hand. And it's a tribute to rock legend Chris Cornell. May he rest in peace. This is July 7th. The doors are at 7. Showtime is at 8. And this is at the House of Independence in Asbury Park, New Jersey, 572 Cookman Avenue, July 7th. And I will happily promote that because of, I mean, if you just listen to that jingle, that was Mike singing that shit. And if there's somebody that they can do some justice to Chris Cornell, judging by that jingle, I would say Mike is your guy. Mike is the guy in the Garden of Sound, on top of the Temple of the Dog. And he is also a slave to audio. Wait, is that the right? Yeah, audio slave. Damn. Chris Cornell was a beast, man. God damn. Amazing voice in rock and roll music. I'm a little exhausted right now. I did a yoga class recently, and some of you guys might get sick of me talking about yoga. But goddamn, man, that shit can really turn your day around. I've been real busy the past week. I've been super busy, working on a bunch of music, trying to write some new comedy jokes. Comedy jokes. It's like saying musical songs. Been writing some musical songs and some comedic jokes. On top of that, I've been working as a part-time, almost full-time postal worker. Thank you guys so much to everybody who bought some merch for the Waxes Online Garage Sale Part 2. And like last year, I was fucking shocked by how many people bought some shit, so I really appreciate it. But it does take a lot of time. You might not know this, but I don't have a fucking assistant. I don't have, I got a couple people on my team, but none of them are helping me with the, my boy Davey's producing the album I'm working on. Boy Lack of Afro is producing this other album I'm working on. My boy Galen helps make flyers, does all my graphic work, but I don't have somebody that's doing the postal stuff. So I'm sending all that shit out myself, and it takes a fucking while, man. But I finally got all the domestic orders shipped. I will be shipping all the international orders tomorrow. I'm sorry it took so fucking long. But it's not too bad, I guess. It's not too bad. Everybody should get their shit within a 3-week time period. 3 weeks not too bad, right? It's not too bad. But yeah, if you want to get, there's still some shit available. waxesgarage.bigcartel.com. Got some Waxes Podcast t-shirts. Still got some larges, some mediums, some smalls. Should have got we got a lot of big folks. We got a lot of big folks that are listening to Waxes Podcast because the extra larges and double extra larges sold out. Probably should have got more double XLs and less smalls. People that wear small shirts. Not listening to podcasts. Small shirt wearing individuals are either A, more likely to be ladies that are listening to a different type of podcast, or B, healthy, fit males. They're out there running around. They're not listening to podcasts. They're listening to up-tempo, 4 on the floor, whatever the fuck makes you jog on the treadmill music. They're not out there listening to me ramble, slowing them down at the gym, slowing them down on the cross-country track. You small-shirted sons of bitches. And I say that knowing that none of you are listening. Not very many small shirters. Small shirters. That's like a genre of person. Like it sounds like flat earthers. The small shirters out there didn't really order too many shirts for the Waxes podcast, but they're still available, y'all. Got some Cookout Chronicles CDs available. What the fuck else am I selling? I think I sold out everything else, which is a fucking blessing, and I appreciate it, y'all. Appreciate it very much. But yeah, I was gonna say as far as the yoga class I just took, it's a real miracle. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to explain it scientifically. But it like maybe it's. I mean, there's certain forms of, speaking of working out. I'm sure there's certain forms of workout that can kind of do the same thing for you. Shit where you're working your body so hard that your mind can't think about bullshit. A forced meditation, I would say. And it makes all the bullshit leave your mind, and then you walk out of there feeling great. Probably much like a runner's high that nobody listening actually gets because none of you wear small shirts and run. Not the Waxes podcast crew. We're working in cubicles. We're driving trucks. We're eating burgers. Speaking of burgers, the Waxes podcast burger is available at the Texas Road Stand down there in Cedar Creek. Shout out to Ghost in the Pines. But yeah, man, it's weird. Like, I've been so busy and like been feeling good. Like I was feeling good last week, as the podcast told you if you listened. But for some reason, I'm like the type of person where like one little thing goes wrong and it fucks everything up. You know. Little dumb shit, man. I could have 99% of things going right, and then the 1% of things that goes wrong just changes. You know, it's like putting I don't know. It's like putting you can have a big ass cup of water, but if you put a drop of LSD in there, it's LSD water. It's not. You're gonna get fucked up if you drink it. You know. That's kind of how I am with the 1% of negative shit. Little stupid shit the other day. All right, there's this coffee creamer that I buy. It's almond milk sweetened coffee creamer. That's what I drink. And it's not like I'm a vegan or something. It's not like I have any problem with dairy. But I tried this somebody had this almond milk coffee creamer one time. I just really liked it, so that's what I buy now. And wouldn't you know it, recently they changed their lid type. The type of lid, the type of cap that they put on their almond milk used to be a twist off. Used to be a standard twist off bottle. But now, I don't know why, they made it so it's like a fucking lid that you flip open, you know? Like a latch. Now it's a latch. And as a human being, you form habits. When I have my coffee in the morning, make the coffee, go to the fridge, I get out the little almond milk, and I give it before I put it in the coffee, I give it one solid shake. Whoosh, up and down, like a jerk-off motion, not really, like if you were holding a shotgun with one hand, and you fucking, I give it one of those. And that was never a problem. It's never a problem when it was the standard twisting lid. But now that it's the up and down, open up the hatch like a submarine, it's a big problem. Oh, man. Me and my brother have the same shit where we let little fucking things make us flip out. And there was fucking sticky almond milk all over my kitchen afterwards, and I fucking lost it. Just lost my fucking mind. Yeah. And, I was waking up feeling positive, getting a lot of shit accomplished, and then all of a sudden it's like, wow. Something dumb like that can make you just think to yourself, well, now I got to clean this up. Or I could just find a local tall building and fucking jump off it. But, you do yoga, and it all goes away, and you feel great. It does drain you, though. When I do yoga in the middle of the day, I want to take a nap. If I take a nap in the middle of the day, it fucks the rest of my day up. I'm just foggy and hazy. Then I try to go to sleep at night, and I have a little trouble doing so. Why do you guys listen to this? Anyway. Been doing acoustic Mondays every Monday on my YouTube and on my Facebook. Put up a video of me playing acoustic guitar. New acoustic songs every Monday this summer. June, July, and August. And then at the end of the summer, I'm going to put out an album of acoustic songs. But it's not going to be like just acoustic guitar and my voice. It's not going to be just like that's the whole album. My man Davey is producing this album, and we're building it up to be real fucking, I don't know, real songs. I don't know what you would call them. Produced songs. And it's sounding fucking sweet, dude. It's sounding fucking totally radical, bro. Another thing, this past Friday, I put up a video on my YouTube, which I immediately deleted. I was going to do this series called Friday Gifts. I was going to make a GIF, because now when you text message somebody, you comment on Facebook, they have a little button for GIFs where you can put a GIF, you know what I mean? And I was going to make one every Friday, but I put out one this past Friday and got so clowned. I got clowned about how fucking it looked like some old MySpace shit. So I was like, you know what? I can get negative reviews on one thing I do. But if I get clowned all over the place, I'm not going to do it every fucking week. So I'm not doing that shit. To anybody that did see that video and clowned me, I appreciate it. That was kind of supposed to be the joke. The part of the joke was supposed to be that it looked fucked up and shitty. If you watch the video, it had a dumbass pink old font, the iMovie font. Kind of supposed to be like old school internet. But apparently, it was whack. And I'm going to accept my own whackness. And not fucking get clowned every Friday. One person that clowned me, I immediately commented back and said something mean to him. Then I felt bad a little while later and deleted it. Then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to delete all this shit. Delete all records of Friday Gifts. And not do this shit every Friday. So alas, if you wanted to send your friend an awful GIF of me saying something stupid, shit ain't gonna happen. You're gonna I'm still gonna make them. They're still gonna be on there, but it's gonna be a secret. You gotta find it secretly. Secret GIFs. What else I got going on? Like I said, I'm a postal worker now. They know me at the post office. They say what's up to me. What else I got going on? Huh? Went to an amazing comedy show last night. I'm not going to fucking tell you about it. Classic Had to Be There. A Had to Be There is not a good story for a podcast. Did I have anything else that happened to me this week interesting, or am I just going to fucking... am I just going to think about... What else can I talk about on today's podcast? I haven't been paying attention to the news. I have no idea what the fuck is going on. Been trying to stay away from that. I have no idea what Donald Trump did this week or the fucking Congress and Senate, Republicans and Democrats. No fucking idea. And I like it. I like it that way. Mind is clear. No space for that shit in my brain. Made some chicken today. Cooked some chicken. And you know what? Pretty sure I didn't finish it. And I did finish it. I did eat all of it. Slapped the chicken breast on the grill. Cut it up, put it in a salad. And then as I was eating the chicken, I was like, you know what? I don't think I cooked this all the way. Kind of had the consistency of ahi tuna. Kind of had the consistency of salmon sushi in the middle. But but I'm an American, and Americans don't give up. We don't quit. When we see a problem, we tackle it. When I tasted that chicken, I said, you know what? I'm more into efficiency today than health. I'm not going to waste my time. I need to do a podcast. I don't have time to throw this stuff back on the grill. I already cut it into little pieces. It's going to fall through the cracks of the grill. I'm not getting out a frying pan or putting it in the oven. I'm just going to muscle through. And I got to be honest with you, there was part of like, as human beings, we're kind of natural-born scientists. We want to see what's going to happen. The scientist part of my brain said, you know what, let's do an experiment. My hypothesis is that I'll get... you know what? My hypothesis was that I got a fucking rock gut. I got a stomach that can handle some shit. I've been a heavy alcohol drinker over the years. I've been an unhealthy eater over the years. I think that my stomach lining can break down some fucking raw chicken and handle it. I think I could eat something a lot worse than that and fucking handle it. I mean, that was a few hours ago. I feel great. Knock on wood. My hypothesis was that I can handle it, but later on tonight we'll see if maybe I get sick, throw up. I don't know how long it takes for salmonella poisoning to kick in. I don't know if that's an immediate thing. I don't know if you get tested for it like an STD and find out months later that you get it. I don't know anything about salmonella. Maybe I'm not such a scientist after all. But as I was eating that half-cooked chicken and fucking gelatin, that gelatinous meat that I ingested in my body earlier with lettuce and onions. The onions were grilled amazingly. Can't really under or overdo onions. I like to overcook the shit out of onions on the grill. But that chicken, as soon as I tasted it, I was like, this could possibly get me sick. But sometimes you got to experiment. I ate that chicken the way a teenage boy drinks vodka. Let's just see what it does. Let's see what this feels like. And here I am. Maybe this will be my last words. Maybe I'll die of chicken poisoning later tonight. In that case, I'd like to leave all of my studio equipment to my brother. I'd like to leave all my other materials to my brother as well. Everything I own, I bequeath to my brother if I die of chicken poisoning after I put out this podcast. And this is my last, the last cast. Like a fisherman like a fisherman who's about to hook into a shark, pulls him off the boat. And he wants to catch that shark so bad that he goes down under with the shark and drowns to death. Like him, this may be my last cast. I don't know why I'm talking like that today. Sometimes you got to say things that aren't deep as if they were. And then you leave a long pause. The longer the pause, the deeper your intent. So we got a couple updates this week. I'm going to get to Nick Shea. If you've been following the podcast, Nick Shea's been riding his bicycle from Boston to New Orleans. Let's see where he is today. Let's get into that. All right, y'all. All right. Before I get into Nick Shea, let's revisit. Let's revisit with Chris M. Chris M. and TsunamiPremiumVapor.com. TsunamiPremiumVapor.com. That is a sponsor of the podcast now. I got the Patreon, patreon.com/bigwax. If you want to support the podcast, you can give 50 cents to $5 per episode. I know $5 is a lot. That's why if you do that, my next album, you'll be in the thank you. There'll be a thank you section for all the people that are doing that. And if you don't want to do it, fine. This is a very socialist system, I'd say. The Patreon is a socialist system. The people that are doing that, they got the money to spare. And if you don't, I don't want you to fucking support this. I don't want you to give me money if it fucking makes you like short on your phone bill. Fuck that. I don't want that. But you know, I'm trying to crowd. I like the idea that this is all crowd shit. You know what I'm saying? All crowdsourced shit. Chris M, big supporter of the podcast and big supporter of me for a long time. Appreciate him. He works for TsunamiPremiumVapor.com. If you go there and use the coupon code WAX, you get 10% off. And I'd recommend that you do so. So we got Tsunami Premium Vapor, we got the Texas Road Stand, and we got Patreon. And you know what? I don't think we fucking need anything else. So how about all those other fucking corporate assholes suck my balls, man? How about that? Yeah. Taking a stand, man. Taking a stand. Fuck you, Walmart. Not doing it. Walmart hit me up the other day. They said they're going to give me $1 million. They said, you know what? How about you change the name of your podcast from Wax's Podcast to Wax's Podcast, brought to you by Walmart. We'll give you $1 million per episode. They hit me up the other day. They emailed me at beatsforwax@gmail.com. It was the CEO of the company, fucking Sam Wall, W-A-L. Sam Wall. He's like, dude, I've been listening to your podcast. I really like the stuff you talk about. I think that your listeners I think you have the right demographic for Walmart. What is the right I mean, there's not really a demographic that can't get something from Walmart. I mean, I don't care how old you are, what race you are, what sexual orientation you are, what gender you are. You could use paper towels, you know. You probably use paper towels. And you know what? They sell paper towels at Walmart. Probably use toilet paper. Maybe if you're super rich, you don't use toilet paper. Maybe they got something I don't even know about. I mean, they got bidets. But you don't just use a bidet, right? My knowledge on bidets is very limited. I don't know a lot. All right, man. Stop. Okay. This is the latest update from Nick Shea. This is what Nick says. I'm on a bus back to Boston right now. Spent all my money, broke my bike, ditched it in Virginia, and had the greatest experience I could have asked for. It felt like the right time to head back. I feel so proud of myself and accomplished. I cried so much today in the best way. I am so grateful that I've been a part of the podcast. Well, we're grateful to have you, Nick. Baltimore was awesome, man. New York was my favorite place I went to on this trip, and if I stopped there, that would have been more than enough. Baltimore is in second place. Nice. I'm very proud and happy that I pushed myself even further. I was chilling by the water a lot in Baltimore, drinking that delicious Natty Boh. Delicious is a strong word. Delicious is a strong word for Natty Boh, but it does, at least to my taste buds, Natty Boh is more nostalgic than delicious. Just makes me think of the good times I had in that city. He continues. Really wish they sold that in Boston. I went to the American Visionary Art Museum, which is amazing. I didn't eat crabs. I'm not into seafood. Well, that's understandable then. I realized that I don't want to eat meat anymore, and I probably won't. I found a burrito place in D.C. that makes a giant burrito and then throws the burrito into a bowl of chili. It was amazing. It sounds amazing. It's weird 2 sentences to put together, though, Nick. You realize you don't eat meat anymore. You don't want to eat meat anymore, and then you're like a giant burrito into a bowl of chili. I mean, maybe it was a vegetarian burrito and vegetarian chili. I don't know. A tidbit for you guys out there. If you like chili. Strangely enough, if you go to a chili restaurant, remember there was a chili restaurant called Hard Times Cafe in College Park, Maryland, if that place still fucking exists. Probably not. But the vegetarian chili was actually the best one. Had the most flavor. You mentioned a while, this is Nick now. That was my aside. You mentioned a while ago that communicating through Skype or phone or something could work. Maybe for this update we could do it that way. Fuck, man. I should have fucking tried to set that up. All right, Nick, if you're listening to this, next week Next week on the podcast, let's set that up. Let's do a Skype, some kind of conversation where you actually can tell your own side of the story on this trip. Let's work that out. Just we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out for next week, and you can maybe get your thoughts together and let the listeners know what you learned. Maybe let them what you learned about yourself, what you learned about the places you visited. All right, so he says might be easier to talk about the trip in a conversation. This is just kind of trying to set up that phone call, which we probably should have done, but let's do that shit for real next week. You're the man, Wax. Much love to you and Herbal Tea. Next time around, we'll get a tandem bike and travel the country. Peace, man. A tandem bike is one of those bikes where there's actually two people on the same bike, 2 seats. I don't know. I actually would do a bike trip like that, but I wouldn't do like the whole country. I would maybe do like LA to I do LA to San Diego. That's as far as I'm gonna go. That's it. That you probably do that in one day. If you started in the morning and ended at super late at night, you could maybe do that in one day. I don't know. That's pretty far, but I don't know that I want to do the rest of it by bike. I like to be in a car. Once you get to the middle, once you get to like Arizona and New Mexico and shit, that's a tough bike ride. That's a desert trip. That's when you start seeing mirages and shit. We got some shout outs this week. We got Derek A. Ali X from Glasgow. We got Mike from Long Branch, New Jersey. July 7th, y'all. Asbury Park, Chris Cornell tribute. We got Rotten Smoothie. We got Sonny P from the UK. We got St. James. St. James, who sent me a song on his SoundCloud. I'm not sure. Fucking Christ. I'm so bad at... I don't know if I'm supposed to promote it or not. I'm trying to help people out when they send me this shit, but I'm not the best at remembering what people tell me. You know what I mean? Not great. God damn it. All right, well, just look up St. James on SoundCloud and find his latest joint. He got a new song out. We got Spicy O. We got Johnny D, the consultant. Thank you for that email, Johnny D. I appreciate it. We got B Legend, the former security guard. B Legend, the former security guard, is trying to relearn how to play the guitar. If anybody has any recommendations for him on good ways to learn the guitar, I was saying that if you're starting at the beginning, if you're starting with some basics, I think it's good to get a lesson, even if it's just your friend showing you some shit. Because if you just watch YouTube videos, you can't ask the questions. They do have guitar lessons available on Skype, so maybe that's the way to go nowadays. Find a really good guitar teacher with high Yelp ratings, I guess. Skype in and learn the basics. Learn them chords. We got Petey Machete. We got Jackie Sweetleaf. And we got Elizabeth G. Those are the shout-outs for this week. The week of June, whatever the fuck date it is today, 2017. All right, this next person said to leave out their name, but interesting email. Thought I'd share a quick story about my existence as a musician. So my buddy got me a job at a company that live broadcasts sporting events. I don't really like sports, but it beats making coffee for 8 hours a day. I've been working there for about 2 years and have already been promoted twice and doubled my salary. Congratulations, man. Life was feeling pretty good up until a week ago when I received my latest promotion. During our weekly meeting, the CEO called me up in front of the entire company to congratulate me on the promotion. Typically, the person's boss comments on what a great job they've been doing and says some nice things. Well, when the CEO turned to my boss says to the whole company, well, we knew his singing career wasn't going anywhere. Nobody really heard him or knows I make music, so it didn't get much of a laugh. But it made me feel like a complete failure. All these years I've been the friend out of my group who people think is going to quote-unquote make it. I used to feel somewhat responsible for my friends with day jobs and families, like I'm keeping their dreams alive by pursuing mine. Nowadays, though, the majority of my friends and family just make wisecracks about how my music sucks every time it's brought up. Meanwhile, I'm waking up and going to a 9 to 5 that I'd swore I'd never do. My biggest fear is to be one of those uncles who is described as the guy who failed at a music career. I still have an album. I mean, that can't be your biggest fear. I mean, be more scared of like fucking the apocalypse and apocalyptic shit, right? I still have an album that I'm almost done mixing that I'll put out, but I'm not expecting much to come out of it. Still have a few dedicated listeners who check up on me. I'll always enjoy the process and the release. It gives me to I'll always enjoy the process and the release it gives me to make music, but the whole rock star dream feels like it's disappeared. On the other hand, like all musicians, there's still this flame burning in the back of my head that tells me to keep going. I've tried a lot and failed a lot at music. At this point in my life, I just want to do the parts that make me happy, writing, recording, and the occasional show. Anyhow, I attached a song for my new album. The song was great, man. Great song. Should you decide to read this, leave out my name? Okay, well, first of all, fuck that guy, man. Fuck your boss for saying that. It's interesting, like when you have a dream, and maybe we've all done this on accident to our friends that maybe take something more seriously than we realize they take it. You got a friend who paints, a friend who does music, a friend who wants to design video games, a friend who in their spare time they do something in the garage, they make pottery, they make fucking old-fashioned chairs, they refinish tables. I don't know. Maybe you made fun of them for it, not realizing that they actually care. It actually is the thing in their life that brings them the most real fucking joy. And of course, music is probably a really, really main one of those, because there's a lot of us that make music. Me and my brother talk about this because I've had a lot of jobs before I was able to do this for a living. And my brother still currently has a 9 to 5 job, and he don't tell nobody. He don't tell nobody at his work that he does music as well. And then they're going to look it up. Then they're going to come in on Tuesday and talk about one of his songs. Then they're going to know about too much. You know what I mean? At least for me and him, for me and my brother, I know that not everybody's like this. I've certainly, especially here in LA, had coworkers where they always want to tell you about what they got coming up. They had the job handing out flyers to their show. Not me. If I have a job where I'm there to fucking make money and get the fuck out of there, I don't want you to know anything about me. The only thing we're going to talk about is work. May do some small talk about stuff that everybody knows. The weather. Maybe sports and minor politics. Minor politics. That's what, that water cooler talk. Water cooler talk. Water cooler talk does not have to do with my fucking life. We're not having water cooler talk about what I do outside of my job. You know what I'm saying? It's about the Super Bowl. We can talk about the Grammys and the Super Bowl. If you want to talk music, we can talk about if you watched the Grammys last night. Did you see Janet Jackson's nipple in the Super Bowl? Wasn't Prince's performance amazing? Did you see Lady Gaga on their most recent one? Shit like that. Damn, that sucks that Chris Cornell died. We can talk about that at the water cooler. Shit that everybody knows about if you want to talk music. We ain't talking about mine. We ain't talking about my life. You ain't going to know shit about me. I'm only going to let you in as a fucking smidge into whatever the fuck I got going on outside of work. You ain't going to go know nothing about my friends. You definitely ain't. We ain't hanging out this weekend. I'm not one of those people, man. I know some people are like that. Some people like hang out with their coworkers outside of work. I was never like that. I guess it's different in different industries, you know. The restaurant biz is a little different, for example, or if you work at a bar, people are a little bit more open. If I'm working at an office job, if I'm hanging out with you after work, it's because we went to happy hour down the street, and then I'm out, back to my real life. You ain't gonna know about my girl. You ain't gonna know about my family. You know what I mean? So I don't know how that boss found out about your music, but Maybe that's a lesson for you. I don't know. Maybe just don't ever tell anybody about that shit. But fuck him for saying that. People don't understand that. I don't know. Maybe a lot of people don't really have those kind of passions. You know, doesn't realize it. You care a lot more, even if you're making an album that nobody's gonna listen to. Because trust me, I've made them. I've definitely been involved in many projects where nobody fucking was. I kind of knew. I mean, you always hope you hope it's gonna blow the fuck up. You know, my old band would always hope that all our albums are gonna be like the fucking next hot shit. But regardless, at the time, I mean, shit. Looking back at it now, I remember making those albums. I remember the blood, sweat, and tears that went into making a lot of those albums. I don't fucking remember what the fuck I was doing for work. I mean, I remember what the job was, but I don't remember all those jobs. Most of those jobs, I just fucking classic office space, just doing enough not to get fired, you know? But, yeah, man, you got to keep at it, dude. You got to do something that keeps your spirit alive. And you never know, man. Sometimes all that stuff is boot camp. You know, that 10,000 hours Malcolm Gladwell thing is so true. And we all have our different boot camp. Like for me, my 10,000 hours was being in that band. My 10,000 hours was being in that band forever, making albums, learning about the studio, learning about touring. Doing all the fucking YouTube shit once that came out. Just writing, filling up notebook after notebook of fucking rhymes. My roommate Davey, his boot camp was he was in a fucking wedding band forever. He played every fucking hit song over and over and over again, and now he writes songs. And he learned he learned a lot about songs, he learned a lot about playing. My other roommate Camila was in a gospel choir. She was in a traveling gospel choir that for years went around the world and sang here and sang there. Now when she's in a studio, if she got to sing a harmony, she knows what it is because she knows what it would have been in gospel choir. She don't make mistakes when she sings because you couldn't make a mistake when you sang in that gospel choir. Speaking of gospel choirs, realized the other day it's one example of this has nothing to do with anything I was talking about, but one of the examples of white privilege in America, and I firmly believe that what I'm about to say is 100% true. An example of white privilege is if you go to any black church in America, you can find at least 20 women that sing just as well as the head white contestant on American Idol. It's an example of white privilege in this country. Yeah, so we all have our own fucking way that we build up those 10,000 hours. We all have our own boot camp. And maybe that's what you're still in, man. Sometimes this shit takes forever. It takes a long fucking time. Sometimes you got to write 1,000 songs before you write, you know, what I don't know what's an example, but you got to write a shitload of songs before you write that one. You know, that one that does it. But good luck, man. Thank you for sharing your story. All right, this next one is Will D. We got Will D. Hey, Wax. Got a recommendation for you, but mostly for Nick Shea. Biking by Frank Ocean, Jay-Z, and Tyler, the Creator. I also recommend Higher Brothers, a Chinese rap group that go hard as fuck and just put out a new album. I'm unfamiliar with them. I'm also unfamiliar with Biking by Frank Ocean, Jay-Z, and Tyler. Have I heard that? Is that new or old? Because I feel like I would have heard of that. That's an epic trio right there. My question for you, Wax, is what is your favorite non-American song of all time? I, for one, quite like Aussie hip-hop and the Asian drill rap scene, with Addicted by Bliss and S.O. is my favorite. Here's the video in case you have time to watch. I think you already sent me this video. Somebody already sent me that video. I hope you have a good week and the projects are going well. Loving the Acoustic Mondays, too. Will D. Thank you so much, Will D. As far as my favorite non-American song, first of all, like, there's a lot. I mean, first of all, any Beatles song, Led Zeppelin song, AC/DC song, like, there's a lot of non-American groups that, like, almost they're so fucking huge that they almost feel like like not American, but they're just legendary. You know, it's not like like Bliss and Esso is a little deeper, and obviously Higher Brothers, the Chinese rap group, goes even further. But almost would be but well, it wouldn't count for an Australian song. But I was gonna say it almost would make more sense to think like what's your favorite non-English speaking song, because that's something we don't get a lot of in America. We don't get a lot of music. Americans are very stuck up and spoiled when it comes to the language that they want to hear on the radio. We get some Spanish stuff, but we don't, it's very hard for people to break into the American pop music scene. I mean, even when Psy came out with Gangnam Style, he had to have some English words in there for people to fuck with it. But my favorite, you said non-American song, and then in parentheses that or artist / group / band, whatever, of all time. I mean, probably have to go with AC/DC, man. Probably have to go with AC/DC. You know who else was dope from Australia was INXS. INXS was a great fucking band from the 80s and maybe the 90s. I think just mostly the 80s. Every single one of us, the devil inside. And I need you tonight. 'Cause I'm not bootin'. There's something about you, girl. That was a great band. Yeah, so I'm going to go with AC/DC. I wish I could have a cooler one. But I gotta admit, I'm not up on shit. I'm not up on hip hop from other places, man. I'm really not. I'm not even up on the grime scene in the UK. I'm not up on Australian hip hop. I don't know shit. I'm very, very American based as far as my hip hop knowledge. All right, we got Claire H. Hey, Wax. It's kind of long, so I'm sorry in advance. So listening to the last few podcasts, I've really been interested in hearing the different opinions of both you and other podcast listeners about religion and terror attacks, especially how you'd like to kind of get rid of religion in a nutshell. Keep in mind, I was only half serious about that. I don't realistically think that's a possibility. And it really got me thinking about a world without religion. I think religion can be good for some people, bringing communities together and all that, regardless of people's personal thoughts. But I do also think it is an excuse for people to segregate others and divide communities. Just look at the troubles in Northern Ireland. I think overall, though, it's more the fact that people can't have nice things. I truly think that the people who carried out those attacks would have found another cause to kill for if religion didn't exist. They know what they're doing is wrong, but use religion as justification. I don't know. Who knows what goes on in their heads, really, but that's just what I think, and I could be completely wrong, too. I also just wanted to say to Nick during the biking trip, don't feel guilty about how you're spending the GoFundMe money. You said exactly what you needed the money for, and people gave it to you willingly in the hopes that they can help you achieve something amazing and in a little way take part in it with you. Keep going. All the podcast listeners are rooting for you. Lastly, if you still have the sinus problems, you should try using Johnson's Baby Soothing Vapor Bath in either the shower or the bath. It really helps clear out your head. As always, thanks for putting out the podcast almost every week, and can't wait to hear your new music. P.S. Please put everyone out of their misery with Diamond in the Rough. Teasing it on Instagram every now and then is killing me. All the best, Claire H. Yeah, I still haven't finished that song, man. It's like, just can't, Sometimes you finish a song real easily, but there's something about that song that I really like, and I think that I like it too much. I haven't gotten it right yet. I shouldn't be teasing stuff that's not definitely ready, but we'll see. As far as Nick, the podcast listeners were rooting for you, Nick, and I think that you did a good job, man. I think you were gone for 4 weeks just with a fucking bicycle. Maybe you didn't make it all the way to New Orleans, but you shouldn't be down on yourself. If you are down on yourself, don't be. And it sounded like you weren't from the letter you sent. So I think that your experience is valuable, and I think that the people that contributed to your GoFundMe have zero regrets as far as whatever you spent the money on, whether it be that chili and burrito thing or whether it be trying to fix your bike or whatever. Sounds like you had a great time and learned a lot about yourself. Sounds like the classic trip of a 20-year-old. In this day and age, that's kind of like, I talked about it last week, I think. In tribal cultures, when you're like 14 years old, they take you out into the woods and you become a man. You like eat peyote and look at trees and nature, and you're like, oh, I'm a part of the world and I'm a man now. And I used to be a boy and I'm a man. I think in modern culture, because of the extension of the lifespan, the life expectancy is much higher now. I think around 20 is when you kind of have to have like a little epiphany type of experience like that. I had one as well. As far as the religion thing, I'll get to that in a second because I think we have one more email. It actually kind of is about that same thing. So let's see if we can combine it all into one little talk here. I'll try the Johnson's Baby Soothing Vapor Bath, by the way, Claire H. I guess my roommate Camila left for the next like 3 months. She's touring with Watsky. Catch her on the Warp Tour, by the way. Catch my boy Watsky along with Camila and all the rest of the crew on the Warped Tour, the Vans Warped Tour this summer. Coming to a city near you if you live in America and parts of Canada. But she's gone. And she has a big-ass bathtub that has jets and shit. So maybe while she's gone, maybe I'll use her bathtub and do what you say, Claire H. I haven't taken a bath since God knows when. I have no idea when the last time I took a bath was. All right, lastly, but certainly not leastly, we got Shiro. Shiro said, excuse me. Shiro did not do any paragraphs or spaces, just a big-ass block of words. Shiro says, hey, Wax, I just listened to podcast 142, and I wanted to thank you for the recommendation about the T-shirts. You said don't cheap out and make sure you give people quality. I'm soon making the first shirts for my clothing company. I'm starting very, very soon. Probably by the time you read this, it's already out. Anyway, there's a choice between a cheaper shirt and a more expensive but more comfortable, and I was on the verge and couldn't decide, so thank you for unknowingly settling that. Yeah, man, like I said on that podcast, you gotta spend the extra money on the quality shirts. You got to. Nobody's gonna wear that shit if it's a whack ass beefy tee. Gotta get a comfortable shirt. Not only are they not gonna wear it, they're not gonna ever buy your shirts again. You're gonna be like, hey, you don't make quality shirts. I wanted to put my 2 cents in on the religious conversation. I used to think that everyone that doesn't believe in religion I think that your English is not Shiro's first language. Used to think that everyone that doesn't believe in religion or in general just tries to further themselves from it should try to make religious people understand that there's no God in that possibility. But I've recently come to the conclusion that some people really do need religion. It's not about the believe, it's that some people couldn't get out of bed every day knowing that they could die and there's no afterlife, that they've already wasted the time they've had on this earth. You know, if there's a huge comfort and solace in the idea of religion, that in the end, everything is going to work out. That's quite a sentence. And if you really think about it, it's really hard to be an atheist or disregard religion altogether, to accept that you might just be done with your life and there's nothing else that's hard to deal with. But in a way, I think that that's a beautiful way of looking at life and trying to get the most out of it and appreciating it even more. To disregard religion altogether, to accept that you might just be done with your life and there's nothing else, that's hard to deal with. Wait, I just fucking read the same thing. I think that's a beautiful way of looking at life and trying to get the most out of it and appreciating it even more. Also, a question for the podcast. Do you get any listeners that email you that aren't actually fans of you as a rapper and they just listen to the podcast as a podcast appreciator? Just always been curious about that. One last thing. Do everything you can to put Clockwise on Spotify because it's all I use for music. I'd love nothing more enjoyable than to hear different galaxies walking in the rain. Do you think professional rap, etc. Be safe out there? Shiro. Really should do that. I don't even have a copy of that shit. For me to do that, I have to like download it off YouTube or something. I don't think there's that many people that listen to my podcast just as a podcast and don't have maybe there's people that don't like frequently listen to my music, but they heard of me through music or they heard about me through a friend or something. I don't think there's that many. If you listen to this podcast and don't listen to my music at all, email me, beatsforwax@gmail.com. I'd be curious to hear about that too. But I don't think there's a lot of people like that. I don't think that's the case with too many people. As far as this whole religious thing, I'm going to combine Claire H. and Shiro's points, which were pretty similar. I mean, I definitely get the fact that it's hard to believe. And I was thinking about this recently, man. I'm getting to the point where I have these little midlife crises all the time. I had one last night. I was driving to this comedy show, and just like I was on Laurel Canyon Boulevard, and I just remember thinking, like, this is it. I'm just gonna die one day. That's what the fuck am I even doing? Like, everybody has those thoughts, but it's for me with the religion thing. It's like I some people do need religion. I think religion is good for some people. It gives them hope and stuff like that. But I don't know how the fuck you would ever enforce this. This would be impossible to enforce. Well, we just need like a peace doctrine. There has to be a universal doctrine that says, like, all right, you can believe in whatever the fuck you want, but it just can't have violence to others involved in it, you know? I mean, that's impossible. It's impossible to regulate other people like that. But I think that's what I was getting at whenever I had that thought about what I don't even know what the fuck I said about religion. But it's, as far as your point, Claire, saying that the people that do these terror attacks would have found a cause to kill for anyway. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. I think that a lot of us kind of have this half-assed view toward religion. We kind of because the way I grew up religiously was kind of like, yeah, I was raised Catholic, but it's not like that was everything. That was like a thing we did on Sundays, but it wasn't really what you model your entire life after. A lot of people here in the States, or just in Western places in general, you might go to church on Christmas and church on Easter, and you kind of believe, and you sort of think that you might believe in this and that, but like, if you've ever met a real religious nut, they believe in that shit absolutely. And if you do truly believe, let's take Christianity. If you truly believe in everything that they teach, then your main goal in life is to be saved, and your main goal along with that is to try to save others and to preach it, like those people out in the corner with a bullhorn and a sign. Those people truly believe that shit. I'm not saying everybody on TV that you see preaching believes in it, but you can kind of tell when somebody does. And I don't think that everybody that commits terror attacks would have done something violent like that without religion and found another excuse for it. I don't think that. I think that you can teach that shit. I think that you can teach somebody to be that way. You can teach somebody to be violent, and you can teach somebody through religion to do crazy shit. Like, I don't you really think that all those people that commit terror attacks, if they would have been, let's say they were adopted at birth. Say at birth they were adopted by the same family that raised me, You think they would have grown up, and at 18 they're just like, you know what, I need to fucking blow some shit up. I don't think that. I think they're taught that shit. And in the case of extremely religious teachings, that's where they get those ideas from. So yeah, that's pretty much what I think about that. I don't have the answers, man. I don't have the answers to life's questions. I just do a podcast. I don't know anything about the mysteries of life and the universe. I do, unfortunately, kind of think that. First of all, I never said I was an atheist. I mean, if anybody who does music can kind of feel that there's something else going on around here, something else going on that we don't know about, something more powerful than us, something above us, I think. But I don't know. I think that whatever's above, I always use that same analogy. I always say, like, us understanding God is like ants understanding NAFTA. It's like a fucking squirrel understanding that Donald Trump is the president and understanding the Senate. It's just too far above our fucking heads. Our brains are too small. But as far as the afterlife shit, I don't know, man. Unfortunately, I kind of think that you have your time and then you're no more. But you know, you become part. You don't ever go. You disintegrate and you become part of the soil. You might turn into a fucking tree. I don't know. All right. This is where I get past my point of fucking discourse. I don't even know if that. See, I'm past the point of even trying to explain shit in that. I don't even know what I'm saying. Pretty much the last 4 sentences I said don't make any sense. And that's when I know it's time to tell you guys to be safe out there.